By the end of this video, you will understand what is ftell function in C programming language. Here this ftell function tells you from the beginning of the file how many bytes away the file position indicator is. So if you talk about the syntax, then the name is ftell. We have to provide the pointer to the file stream and it will return how many bytes away the file position indicator is present. In this file structure, a lot of information about the file that we are working is stored, and one of those information is this file position indicator. So by using this ftell, we can kind of see where exactly we are in the file. Now in order to explain this, what I have done is I have defined a macro called as size, and it expands to this integer value of 6, and then I have this numbers array where the array size is this macro, and then I have these values in this array. And after that, I'm opening up this data.bin file for writing and reading in W+ and as a binary file. If the file is not opened, then we are closing the program. Now since I'm opening up this file in W+ mode, if the file is there, its content will be erased, we get a brand new file, and if it is not there, it will be created. So in all these cases, the file position indicator will be at the beginning. In other words, it will be 0 bytes away from the beginning of the file. So what we can do is we can use this ftell function in order to find that. So here we have to provide the file stream pointer, which is present in this fp in this example. Now in order to store the return value of this function, I will create a variable of type long, and I will say position, and I will store a value of -1 in this. And after that, I will store the return value in this position variable. So it will be position equal to ftell and then this file stream pointer. So now what we can do is we can use the printf function and we can display this position. Okay, now I have displayed the file position indicator is at, and then I have displayed the value in this position variable. Now if I save this program and if I run this, we will get the value as 0. Since this file contains nothing, the file position indicator is at 0. Now the next thing that we do here is we will write some data to the file, and what I want to do is I want to use the fwrite function and I want to write this array elements to the file. So it will be fwrite, and the first argument here will be where the data is present in the memory. It is present in this numbers array, and then we have to specify the size in bytes of one individual element that we want to write. So it will be size of integer, because this array is of type integer, and then how many elements that we want to write, that will be available from this size macro. And then where we want to write that information to this file stream pointed by this fp. And after that, what we can do is we can again use the ftell function and we can get the file position indicator's location. So now here, I'm going to save this program and I will run this, and it will say it is at 0 and then it is at 24. Why 24? Because here we are writing 6 values of integer type, and for integer 4 bytes of memory is used. So after this write operation, we can kind of say that the file position indicator is 24 bytes away from the beginning of the file. Now whenever we perform the write or read operations on the file position indicator will be updated. And now after writing this data, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rewind function in order to reset the file position indicator and other flags. So what it does is it resets the file position indicator to the beginning. So if I copy this and if I paste it in here, then it will display that this rewind function has reset the file position indicator to the beginning. So here I'm going to say rewind, just to differentiate these messages. So here I'm going to say before, something like this, and here after. Before W and after W means before and after writing. So now if I save this program and if I run this, now we can see before writing it is 0 because there is nothing in the file. Then after writing 24 bytes, it is at 24, and then when we use the rewind function, it is reset and it is at 0. So now the next thing that we do is we will read from this file, and when we do that, the file position indicator will be updated and we can see that in code. So what I want to do is I want to read the data that we have written to the file, and in order to do that, we need a variable to store the read value. So I'm going to call this variable as value. I'm going to store a value of 0 in this. So it is of type integer because the array elements are of type integer. We will be reading these array values that we have written in the file. So here it will be fread, and the first parameter will be where we want to store the read value. We want to store that in this value variable, and then size of the single element that we want to read in bytes. So it will be size of integer, and after that how many elements that we want to read. I want to read only one element, and after that from which file I'm going to specify that by using this file stream pointer fp. So now after this, what we're gonna do is we will copy this code and paste it in here. So here what we are doing is, first we are writing data, we are getting the file position indicators position before and after write, and then we are using the rewind function, and then we are getting the file position indicators value, and after that we are reading from the file, and again we are getting the file position indicators value. So now if I save and run this program, so it will be at 4. That is because we have read 4 bytes from the memory, and when we do that, the fread function updates the file position indicators value, so it will contain 4. It just means that the file position indicator is currently 4 bytes away from the beginning of the file. Now finally what I'm going to do is I want to read all the values that we have written to the file, and for that I'm going to use a loop. So I'm going to use a for loop in here, and I'm going to say int I equal to 1, and how many times I want to run this, that will be depending on the number of elements of the array that we have written, that is available from this size macro. And then we will increment the value of I, and after that we will place these 3 lines of code inside the loop, and here we're gonna say file position indicator is at that particular position, and we will also display the read value. So now what I'm doing is I'm reading from the file, and after that I'm getting the file position indicators value by using this ftell, and then I'm displaying them. So now if I save this program and if I run this, we're gonna see value read is 65. After reading that, the file position indicator is at 4. Then we can see that we have read all the values of the array that we have written, and we can see that with every iteration the file position indicator is updated by 4 bytes, because with every read operation we are reading 4 bytes. Now what if I read 1 byte at a time? Just to show you guys that, I'm going to change this one to char, because we're going to be reading only 1 byte, and here we have to change the for loop condition, because since we are reading 1 byte at a time, the file contains 24 bytes, so it will be size multiplied by size of integer. So it will be like 6 multiplied by 4, which is equal to 24. The reason for that is we have written 24 bytes to the file. So now here what we can do is we can say we want to read the size of char, or I can specify 1 in here, and then with this operation, by using this fread, right now we are reading 1 element and it is of 1 byte long. Now after that I'm not going to change anything in here, and if I run this program, now what we can see is we can see the content of each byte that is returned to the file. So we can see 65 0 0 0, and then 66 0 0, and like that. Now if you want, you can use this ftell function before the read operation, so it will start from 0. If you want, you guys can do that also. So this is it guys for this particular video. So this is how we can find out where exactly the file position indicator is present in the file stream. So if you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.